Welcome back to The Jump. I just want to dig in a little bit more on Chris Paul because, Matt, you spoke to him this morning. What did he tell you?
It was a brief conversation. I was actually heading to the gym. I just wanted to reach out and send him some love and just see if everything I was hearing was true. And it was just, I can sense the frustration on his part. He's like, Maddie, all I do is go to the games, go to the gym, and go home. Chris is someone who sticks to the book and does what he's supposed to do. It's unfortunate this happened, considering he's vaccinated, so it's just.
And he told you he was vaccinated.
Yeah, real life things happening in sports that we kind of get to just watch, for the world to see. So with all the bad luck he's had with injuries, he finally overcame an injury in the first game of this playoffs and has been absolutely amazing. Has this young team that didn't make the playoffs in the Western Conference Finals, and for him to have to miss any time right now, just my heart goes out to him.
And Mark, let's go through what happens next, right?
Yeah.
This is for any player in the NBA. If they test positive for COVID, they then go into quarantine. And what happens is they have to either go through 10 days of quarantine, or if they can produce 2 negative tests within 24 hours, they then leave quarantine. But the next step is they go into cardiac testing. And because you have to have 2 cardiac tests a certain amount of time apart from each other, that is usually a 2-day process. Now, could he finish his second test and then play later that day? That kind of just depends on the logistics of timing. But we have to remember that's an extra thing. After he gets out of quarantine, the Western Conference Finals would start maybe this Sunday if the Clippers-Jazz series ends in 6, or they would start Tuesday if that other series goes to 7. What do you think it is going to be like for the Suns, Mark, to go forward forever long, how long they have to, without their star and their captain on the court?
Well, the silver lining is the key thing that Matt said, the fact that Chris has been vaccinated. And what I keep getting told by the NBA, and you mentioned it as well, Rachel, is that if you are vaccinated, there's an easier route to get back to the court.
Well, I just want to clarify for everyone out there. The rules are the same. It's not like there's a different set of rules for vaccinated people, but just the science is that players or people, anyone who is vaccinated, the point of the vaccine is that you're not as likely to get COVID. If you do get it, you're having much more mild case, and so you can pass those markers. It's the same markers, but that you can pass them more quickly.
Yeah, but I don't think he'd have to do a quarantine. So.
Well, he has to be quarantined until he gets those 2 negative tests.
Yeah, yeah. So I think now what the NBA has been also trying to say is they want the players' circle to be all vaccinated. That's asking a lot. I mean, all of us have friends that are like, I ain't doing it, I ain't doing it, I ain't doing it. But for these players at this important time, you got to be really particular about who you have in your circle because that person could be the reason why you're not playing.
But isn't it ironic, too, that the arenas are back to full capacity and now Chris Paul has to sit out because of this and stay isolated? It's very ironic and unfortunate for him. So I'm hoping now that I hope this Clipper-Jazz series goes 7 games, giving him as many days possible to be ready for game 1, because these guys have worked so hard, and not to have your leader for 1 game can be detrimental.
What do you think that Monty Williams can do to get this Suns team ready if they do have to play a game or 2 or more without him?
I got to make a call to the league office and change some rules for Chris.
That's not going to happen, but sure, keep going.
It's just going to be tough. I mean, obviously, you have the mentality in the league is next man's up, but that's always easier said than done. You see Kawhi's going to have to miss some time. That's going to be tough. But for this team, he is so much more than just the point guard out there. He's almost a father figure to these young players and an extension of Monty Williams on the floor. So Chris has had such a great season, a great run in this playoffs, and you would just hate to have him miss time for anything at this point.
The Suns do have some depth in point guard. I think Cameron Payne's played really, really well, but he ain't Chris Paul.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, he ain't Chris Paul.
And even when Chris was out there not 100% and his numbers were low, it's still having that calming presence amongst them, knowing that you have your floor general and your leader out there, similar to what James Harden did for the Nets last night. He obviously wasn't himself, but it's a calming presence when your best players are out there, still being able to control the game without having to actually affect it with statistics.
And this isn't just an injury where you can still hear Chris's voice on the sideline. He's not there.
Yep, that is really significant point. Well, Devin Booker has been sensational in these playoffs. Devin Booker, at least for the short term, you're up. So there we go. Thank you so much to our senior insider from The Undefeated, Mark Spears, to our NBA champ. Thank you so much, Matt Barnes. The Jump is on at 3 o'clock Eastern every day on ESPN, and we'll find you also here on YouTube.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.